Welcome back, everyone. This is Sports Den, here with all the greatest action from the past week. I'm Blythe Whaley alongside Mary Rominger, and we are so pumped to be able to share all of the fun things that our teams have done the past week.
Yeah, we have a lot of really quality action coming up, and this is the time of year where things get really competitive and the grind begins. We talked about it last week, and it's even more true this week, so can't wait to see it all unfold. And we start out on the ice where the Blaine boys hockey program hosts Centennial for an all-important Northwest Suburban Conference matchup at Fogarty Arena. It's the last of two meetings this season between the rivals. The Cougars shut out the Bengals 9-0 on December 6th. We're in the first period. Anders Westman gets Centennial on the board first with the screen on the shot from Hayden Frank. Halfway through the opening frame, Blaine answers. Thomas Avery puts the puck on a string, scores on the backhander, and Nathan Luong scores as he puts home the rebound. Later, Cougars with the man advantage, chance to go into mission with the lead, looking for the perfect shot. It's Drake Ramirez down low into the open net. It's 2-1 Cougars. Second period, momentum is with Centennial. Blaine turns the puck over on the power play. Peyton Blair and Harper Searles back and forth. Searles scores. Cougars are unstoppable. Similar situation later in the second. This time, it's Blair with the short-handed goal to make it 5-1. Centennial would score twice more in the third period. Palmer LeMay nets the seventh goal of the game. Cougars win 7-1.
And Blaine won in this one. So long, everybody. You guys had a pretty lopsided win against Blaine the first time. They really came out and competed today. You guys had a tight game in the first period. How did you guys approach this game and not take for granted maybe the lopsided scoreline from the first time?
I think we just stuck with it. We know that, if we keep going that we can score goals as a team. So we just kept going and stayed with it. I mean, we had a ton of shots on net, so just stuck with it.
Yeah, almost 60 tonight. Yeah. Came up one shy of that. You guys had each a shorthanded goal tonight. That first one was incredible. You end up putting it in the back of the net for the first time. You guys pass it back and forth. It felt like 17 times between each other. Tell me about you get a 2-on-none opportunity. It's a dream scenario. What's running through your mind in those quick couple of seconds as you guys are 2-on-none?
Try not to lose the puck. Try to get, a couple touches back and forth, get the goalie moving, and, hopefully the net's wide open. So should be a goal every time. All
right, last thing I've got for you. You so often are the setup man for Peyton. Were you surprised when he passed it back to you? Was Peyton telling you, come on, this is your one to score? You get so many assists.
Yeah, a little bit, honestly. I knew he's going to pass it, but it was a good pass.
We came into this game thinking the same thing every game, try and get pucks deep, get shots on net, and try to make plays every night. So just same thing every night, basically.
All right, Blaine's a rivalry opponent. You guys have kind of had their number lately. Why is it still a special game when you got the blue team lining up on the other side?
I think it's just the border battle. We're real close, only 15 minutes. Everyone kind of knows each other, so that's why it's just a big game.
All right, a couple of games coming up. You guys are in the stretch run of the Northwest Suburban Conference. What are you guys looking to do and build on the rest of the year?
Yeah, these are big two games coming up north, like you said, conference games. And, Armstrong this year, you can't take them lightly as usual. They have a good team this year. And then Rogers, they're coming in hot every year, so they'll be good. And then hopefully get 2 wins next week.
All right.
Great stuff from Blair and Searles. So the Cougars win 7-0, without a doubt a lopsided game. The Cougars finished with 67 shots, while Blaine had just 13. And Centennial does go 1 for 5 on the power play, but they made it up, of course, with those two shorties. Now the Northwest Suburban Conference standings, Maple Grove is ranked 3rd in the state. They sit on top. Centennial is 3rd in the conference with a 6-2 in-conference record. Spring Lake Park and Blaine sit at the bottom. The Panthers with 1 conference win, while the Bengals are still on the hunt for their first. And now a tough road ahead for Centennial. As you just heard, first they face Robbinsdale Armstrong Cooper, and number 9 Rogers follows. Champlin Park, and then number 3 Maple Grove. Blaine with a 3-game homestand, number 6 Andover. Totino Grace and then Holy Family. And on the other side, Spring Lake Park with a road matchup. They come home and face Coon Rapids, and then they'll face Andover. So right here, Centennial improves to 8-4-1, and Blaine is now 1-13.
Yeah, and you think about it, the guys for Centennial Cougars got the victory. Can the ladies, did they get to do the same in the past week? Let's find out. Osseo Park Center taking on Centennial SLP. And what's interesting is this game starts out very quickly with Gabby Edlund finessing that one into the back of the net for the early lead, up 1-0. Still the first period though. And yet another one for Osseo. Macy Payton makes this a 2-0 game. Centennial, they don't take this lightly. Getting to see Lauren O'Hare finding that first goal for the Cougars and putting them on the board. Now it's 3-2. We're in the second period, and a give and go back to O'Hare. And she finds the back of the net, helping the Cougars get back in this game. It's tied. Can the Cougars go ahead? Yes, they can. 4-3 again from Hemmer. The Cougars sitting in a great spot, empty net, and finishing it off is Grace Lager.
With Lauren O'Hara, who had 2 goals, now up to 22 goals on the season. And Lauren, you found yourself trailing 3-1 after the first period. What was the difference in the second period when you scored 3 goals and took a 4-3 lead, a lead that you would not ultimately relinquish?
Yeah, it wasn't our best first period. I think we just need to get the first one in and keep rolling from there. But yeah, not our best start. So we just gotta work on that, keep moving the puck, and just starting off strong.
You led 4-3, and then you got a 5th goal, shorthanded. What's the connection with you and Ella O'Hearn like?
Yeah, we just started playing together, but so far it's been pretty good. We've been working together pretty well. She just gave me the puck there. Nice pass on shorthanded, so it was good.
What was the message like in the locker room in that first intermission?
We were talking about just getting our energy up, and the energy was different after the first period because obviously it wasn't our best first period. So, yeah.
You scored a goal, a tap-in goal, with 0.1 second left in the second period to give you a 4-3 lead heading into that second intermission. Take us through that play and what your philosophy was. What was your approach at that last gasp goal?
Just crash the net and hope the puck gets there. But my team works well together, and that is just a very good connecting goal.
Always awesome to hear from our athletes. But again, the Cougars get that victory 6-3. You see the shots on goal, relatively similar, 10 more for the Cougars. But look at that production. 2 goals for 3 different ladies. So very impressive for our Cougars. We'll get to look at what the Blaine Bengals ladies were able to do. They also got the victory there over Forest Lake. And again, what's interesting is, you see a few goals from different ladies on the team, and that's important as we get further into the season.
A very close game. You have Megan Wallen with a goal and Macy Jansen with the other, and Blaine trying to keep the good times rolling. They'll take on Fargo North-South next. And it's Blaine, Fargo North-South at home for Blaine. The Bengals are having a strong season thus far. They come into the matchup 10-5-1 after that win over Forest Lake. No scoring would happen until about halfway through the the first period. Blaine wins the faceoff and Macy Jansen gains possession. She rips a shot from the circle. That's Jansen's 5th of the season. And fast forward to the second period, another faceoff win. Bella Brady's shot is blocked, but Grayson Knowles is there to clean up in front. From there, Blaine keeps their foot on the gas. They'd finish with 30 shots on goal against Savannah Wojcik of the Spruans. On the other side, Haley Hansen stout in net for Blaine. She stopped 20 of 20 shots on goal. There's a 3-on-1, but she stays poised and makes the save. Bengals win in shutout fashion 2-0.
We've been playing better and better, which is a good sign. So there's a lot of things that early in the season, because we were pretty young, that we weren't doing quite so well, that have been improving greatly. So I mean, we got a tough test ahead of us next week. I mean, it's a different level of team, but we like how we've been playing here recently.
It was only a 2-0 final score. It really felt like you guys dominated the game a lot more than that physically. We talked a little bit about how maybe you're not the flashiest team in terms of scoring, but how did, today, was that showcase like your guys' game when you're playing at the top of your game?
Yeah, we're not blessed with goal scorers. I mean, our goals have to come through, hard work in front of the net, getting some of the dirty goals. We don't have, when you look at the rankings on the leading scorers right now, I think our top goal scorer's got 6 goals, but we have 3 of them that have that. So, I mean, that's how it's been for us. We've been a little shy offensively, so we're really trying to push our defensive zone coverage, make sure we keep other teams off the board. Because we know, I mean, we're not a team that's going to put up 5-6 goals a night like some of these teams. So, we're getting better at it. We have pretty balanced scoring. We have a lot of kids with points now, so it's more balanced. We don't have anybody that's really getting a high amount.
I thought I had a pretty aggressive game. I felt like I gave them no time and space in the O zone, D zone, and neutral zone, which made me really successful tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Was just talking with Steve, right? You guys you only get 2 goals tonight, but it really felt like you guys controlled the pace of the game. What were you guys talking about before the game, during the game, to just kind of stay on, keep the pressure on? Because you really made it tough on Fargo today to get out of their zone.
We were just talking about sticking with our systems, and in practice we've been working really hard on crashing the net, so I feel like we did really good with that today.
All right, last thing, 2 big games coming up, Andover and Centennial SLP, a rivalry game. We're going to be there for North Metro TV this week. What are you looking forward to against 2 good opponents?
I'm looking forward to a fast game. Those are really fun, and I think it keeps our team really excited when it's fast-paced and everything.
Here's the final breakdown from Blaine's 11th win of the season. There you see Macy Jansen. She has 15 points on the year. She had a goal in the game, a goal against Forest Lake. And as Coach mentioned, when you don't have the high level of scoring that you might want, luckily you have Haley Hansen in net. She stops 20 of 20 shots, and a great performance by Blaine to keep the Spruans off the board. Now, as we look at the Northwest Suburban Conference standings, Centennial Spring Lake Park is 9th in the state and 1st in the conference with a 13-3-1 overall record. Blaine is 4th in the conference with a 5-2 conference record, just 1 loss behind CSLP, so neck and neck. 6 wins for Centennial, a very stout program, but not many teams too far behind from CSLP.
Yeah, you really don't want to mess up. You see Maple Grove right in it, and Centennial just having to finish out this season strong.
And now coming up for Blaine, they'll face number 2 Andover at 7 p.m. I believe that's tomorrow. And then the big cat clash that you heard Matt Dean mention when he talked to the Bengals, Centennial Spring Lake Park, another state-ranked opponent, but this time a rivalry matchup, a big game for section and conference seeding, and that game will be broadcasted here on North Metro TV, a 7:30 start on the 21st. For CSLP, they have Maple Grove on deck, then Creighton-Durham Hall, and of course Blaine. So the action locally doesn't stop at all anytime soon.
Well, good luck to our teams as they head into that. But we also want to check in on what our basketball teams were able to do over the past week as we head to the courts. First, we'll start with our boys, Champlin Park at Centennial. Seeing them warm up, getting ready for this game. But right out of the gates, getting to see Ty Burgoon drop the tray. We head to the corner, and again, 19-17 is our score. That was Jackson Dryson. Now Molly Kamara is starting to heat up. He is finding ways to get things going, but Champlin Park up to the early lead. But things start to change. Centennial sticking in this game, trying to make sure that they still find some points in it. Jack DeGusino found that 3, but ending it off, Joe Cummings in Champlin Park persevered and ended the game just like they started, 75-59. Champlin Park Rebels continue to show how they can win these games. But 14 points from Peterson and Graf, that's awesome to see the production for them. But you know, you have multiple players in double figures on both sides for both of these teams. Unfortunately, our Cougars on the short end of the stick for this particular game, but of course they still have some in front of them throughout the year. So we take a look at our matchup between the Champlin Park Rebels and our Panthers. Champlin Park again got the victory. You see these scores, that similar line, but Graf 23 points. No one on the Panthers able to break into those 20-point marker and over. But overall, you see the production again from Peterson, 18 points. Komara, consistent again, 12 points. So Champlin Park came ready to play against our North Metro teams. Anoka Tornadoes taking on the Blaine Bengals, but they were able to find the victory. A lot to do with Pettis, 28 points, but you see on both sides, they each had a player that was able to score 28 points, but 6 3-pointers were made by Pettis, and that is a big statistic when you think about what production you can have behind that 3-point arc. It can change a game drastically, but look at 4 players, again, for our Bengals as we get later on in our year that are scoring in the double figures. So congrats to our Bengals by a good turnout versus the Tornadoes. As we look at the standings, Blaine Bengals doing the best of our teams with that overall record of 7-4, conference record of 3-2. But Park Center leading the way, undefeated. So you always know those teams, they have the bullseye on their back, and everyone's going to be hunting for them as it comes to that end of the season. Spring Lake Park further down, and Centennial further down than that. But as far as schedules, those games that we're looking forward to, Blaine going to be taking on Maple Grove tomorrow. We'll see Andover on the 24th when they get back at home. But Centennial, you see them going to have to take on Park Center, which, again, we just mentioned, they have not lost this season. So Centennial going to be giving it their all to help them find that first loss of the season. But Mary, yeah, these guys, they're showing their stuff as, you know, the season's winding
down. Yep, exactly. And now switching it over to the girls' action, Blaine is on the road against Andover, and they try to keep the good times rolling and get a strong win against another really strong team. The Bengals enter the game 7-3 overall. The Anoka Tornadoes are 9-3. 2 3-loss teams going head-to-head. First half, Anoka with a 3-point lead early. Here's Molly Garber with the spin move and shot off the glass and in. Anoka jumps ahead 17-8. Soon after, Madeline Frecking goes coast to coast to extend the Tornadoes lead. Frecking finished with 11 points. It's 35-14 now, passing the paint to Lizzie Shotneck, and she gets the uncontested layup to go. Blaine playing from behind. Marina Lafreniere knocks down the jumper. She finished with 6 points. Second half now, a quick transition, and it's Garber for 2. Anoka, though, shooting very well from the field in this ball game. Nice cut from Avine Apinga, and she led the floor with 14 points. Blaine goes to the full court press, leads to this easy transition and bucket for Anoka. The Tornadoes really run away with it from there and get the 66-48 win. Bengals did a nice job of staying poised and staying focused on their own game in a game where Anoka is shooting lights out, but when you shoot as well as the Tornadoes did, it's tough to combat. So Centennial with a 48-66 loss. Apenga again 17 points. Molly Garber 16 points, and even in a loss, it's always fun to watch Molly ball out. And now other games that happened last time out for our area teams, it's Centennial falling to Maple Grove. It was Metz with 14 points leading the way for the Cougars, but unfortunately, a stronger offensive effort from Click and OD on behalf of the Crimson. Centennial will look to bounce back after that disappointing loss and for the Spring Lake Park Panthers. They get a lopsided victory over Park Center, a 78-48 win. That's Michaela Thomas, who led the way with nearly 30 points. Michaela Thomas is averaging 13.5 points per game. Nosbaum with 15 points. Such with 15. Great stuff on behalf of the Panthers. And now moving on to the Northwest Suburban Conference standings, you see Centennial in second place behind powerhouse Maple Grove, who's 7-0 in the conference, 9-3 overall. Centennial, of course, with 2 conference losses, and they have a 500 record. They're tied for second. I mean, that's a really good indication that if you're having not the most success when other teams are also in a similar boat, you can hang right there at the top, and you have Blaine 4-3 in the conference and Spring Lake Park 3-4. As for what's coming up for our 3 area girls basketball teams, Maple Grove next on deck for Blaine, then they have Rogers, and then they take the road to Andover. For Centennial, they'll travel to Park Center and come back for a matchup against Andover before visiting Anoka. And then for Spring Lake Park, they next have Robbinsdale, Armstrong, Cooper, and they'll hit the road to Elk River. So some really tough matchups coming up for the area basketball teams. And as you saw, it's really tight in those Northwest Suburban Conference standings. So every win here will make a huge impact.
So you saw the ladies, all of their last games, it was unfortunately a loss for them. And sometimes you want to get that aggression out. You want to take on that battle, maybe to the mats, as we head to see what our wrestling was all about. The action came between the Blaine Bengals and Champlin Park as we check in with the 106 matchup, and it is a pin. The battle between the Alexes and Alex Gowd finishes it off. We head to the 113, Brady between Trans and Brady from Blaine. The 8th grader also gets a pin, helping the Bengals out early on. Next matchup between the 145-pounders, Damian Thompson from Blaine holding on, and he gets a pin there in the second period. Help the Bengals continue this trend of finding ways to get those pins, but Tenzing Sonam from the Bengals going against Isaiah White. Isaiah White really showing the dominance, and he gets the victory at 45-33. Champlin Park defeats Blaine and really just showed that dominance there at the end.
Wow, I mean, I don't have the highest wrestling IQ, but that many pins is electric to watch. So kudos to that, big time matchup.
Yeah, well, Mary, we have a lot coming in the next week, so getting excited before the next week.
Yeah, and if you want to follow along, follow us on our social medias and visit us at our website.
Well, you guys, it's been fun. We can't wait to come at you with the action here on Sports Den in the next week. But on behalf of Mary Rominger and our director, Ted LaRue, I'm Blythe Whaley saying so long for now. Thanks, guys.